There's a myth that keeps people stuck in the same financial place year after year. It's the idea that a business starts with a brilliant concept, that you need to find the perfect niche, the perfect product, the perfect angle, that if you just think hard enough, something will click, and then you'll finally begin. But that's not how most real businesses start. They start with a machine. Not a metaphor, not a mindset, a physical piece of equipment that turns raw material into something people are already willing to pay for. A machine doesn't need inspiration, it needs input. You feed it material, it produces output. You sell the output, you repeat. That's not a romantic story, it's a business model. And the beauty of it is this: you don't have to convince the market to want what you're making. You don't have to build demand from scratch. You don't have to become a branding genius overnight. You just need the right machine in the right place. This changes everything, because instead of spending months or years searching for the perfect idea, you start from the other end. You look at what's already being bought, what's already being consumed, what's already moving through the market, and then you find the machine that produces it. This is how a lot of quiet wealth is built, not by people with big visions, by people with working equipment. They don't talk about disruption, they talk about uptime. They don't post about their journey, they post about their next order. They don't wait for motivation, they run the machine. And while everyone else is still brainstorming, they're already collecting payments. There's another advantage that most people miss. When you start with a machine, you're not guessing, you're testing. You can calculate, roughly but realistically, how much can this produce in a day? What's the cost per unit? What's the market price? How many units do I need to sell to break even? How long until this pays for itself? These aren't abstract questions, they're math. And math doesn't lie. You can know before you even start whether this thing can work. This is the opposite of the start with passion advice that keeps so many people stuck in endless planning. Passion doesn't create cash flow. Production does. And production starts with a machine. Now there's an obvious next question, and it's the one that separates theory from reality. Which machines actually do this? Which ones turn raw material into reliable income fast enough to matter? Because not all machines are equal. Some sit idle. Some break constantly. Some produce things nobody wants at a price that doesn't work.
That's how we speed up the production line.
A specific few, are different. They're affordable. They're reliable. They produce things with consistent demand. And they can start generating revenue almost immediately.
This machine is running slow.
These are the machines that don't just look good on paper. They look good on your bank statement. And that's where the real story begins. There's a certain kind of machine that almost never fails because it makes things people were going to buy anyway. You're not creating demand, you're capturing it, and that's the safest place to start. Machine number 1, the PET bottle blowing machine. This one is simple but powerful. It takes plastic preforms, small test tube-like pieces of plastic, and blows them into full-sized PET bottles, the kind used for water, soft drinks, juices, cleaning products, even cosmetics. Every day, millions of these bottles are filled, sold, used, and thrown away. And every day, more are needed.
As you can see,
the machine itself is compact. It can fit in a small warehouse or even a large garage. It runs on electricity and compressed air. One operator can manage it after basic training. The economics are straightforward. You buy preforms at a certain price, convert them into bottles, and sell them to local bottlers, distributors, or even small beverage brands. In many regions, there's a constant shortage of reliable bottle suppliers. Big factories focus on huge orders. Small brands struggle to find someone who can produce 5,000 or 10,000 bottles without making them wait months. That's where you come in. You don't need to build a brand. You don't need to market. You just need to produce consistent quality at a fair price. And once you have a few regular clients, the machine doesn't stop. It runs. You collect. You repeat. Machine number 2, the paper cup making machine. This is another one that rides on existing demand. Coffee shops, Juice bars, street vendors, offices, events, they all use paper cups every single day. And with the global shift away from single-use plastic, paper cups are no longer a niche. They're the default. The machine takes rolls of coated paper, forms them into cups, seals the bottom, and rim rolls the top. One machine can produce thousands of cups per hour in different sizes: 8 ounces, 12 ounces, 16 ounces. You can sell directly to cafes, restaurants, catering companies, or through local distributors. The key here is location. If you're near a cluster of food and beverage businesses, you don't need to convince anyone. They already buy cups. You just offer them a local, reliable source with better terms than what they have. And because cups are consumable, they reorder constantly. This isn't a one-time sale, it's a recurring revenue stream. Machine number 3, the nail-making machine. This one is less glamorous, but extremely stable. Construction, carpentry, furniture, packaging, nails are used everywhere. They're small, cheap, and absolutely essential. The machine takes steel wire, straightens it, cuts it, forms the head, and sharpens the point. One machine can produce hundreds of kilograms of nails per day. You sell them in boxes by weight to hardware stores, construction suppliers, wholesalers. The margins per unit are small, but the volume is high. And because nails don't expire, don't go out of style, and don't depend on trends, the demand is constant. In many developing markets, local nail production is still underdeveloped. Most supply comes from big factories or imports. That means there's room for small, agile producers who can serve local demand faster and cheaper. And once you're in the system, once you have a few regular buyers, the machine becomes a cash engine. It runs. You package, you deliver, you invoice, you repeat. These 3 machines share a common pattern. They don't require you to invent a product. They don't require you to educate the market. They don't require you to become a marketing expert. They produce things people already use, already buy, already reorder. Your job isn't to create demand, it's to show up with consistent quality, fair pricing, and reliable delivery. And that's a much simpler game. But there's another category of machines that's even more interesting, because they don't just make products, they provide services. And services can start generating cash almost immediately, sometimes on day one. There's a different kind of business model that most people overlook because it doesn't look like a real business at first glance. You're not making a product, you're providing access. Access to a service, access to a process, access to something people need right now and are willing to pay for on the spot. These machines don't wait for orders. They don't depend on clients reordering next month. They make money every time someone walks up, uses them, and pays. Machine number 4. The automatic water vending machine. This one is deceptively simple. It's a self-service station where people bring their own containers and fill them with purified drinking water. They insert a coin, token, or card. The machine dispenses a set amount of water. Transaction complete. No inventory to manage. No staff needed on site. No complex logistics. You install the machine in a high-traffic location, near residential areas, markets, schools, factories, anywhere people need affordable drinking water. You handle filtration, maintenance, and occasional refilling of consumables like filters. The machine handles the rest. In many regions, especially where tap water isn't trusted or bottled water is too expensive, these machines become essential infrastructure. People come daily, sometimes multiple times a day. The revenue per transaction is small, but the volume is high. And because it's automated, your operating cost is low. This isn't a maybe business, it's a when business. When you place it in the right location, it runs. You collect, you maintain, you repeat. Machine number 5. The car wash machine. Self-service or automatic. This one leverages a universal truth. People hate dirty cars. They'll pay to clean them regularly. A self-service car wash machine lets customers use a high-pressure hose, foam brush, and sometimes wax or rinse functions on a pay-per-minute basis. They drive in, insert payment, and wash their own vehicle. An automatic tunnel system does the work for them. Brushes, sprays, dryers, all in a few minutes. Either way, the model is the same. You own the equipment. You provide the space. You collect payment every time someone uses it. Cars don't stay clean. They get dirty again in days, sometimes in hours. That means repeat customers, built-in recurrence. And because the service is immediate, you don't wait for invoices to get paid. You get paid on the spot. Location is everything here. Near busy roads, residential complexes, commercial areas, anywhere with steady car traffic, this machine becomes a cash point. You're not selling a product, you're selling convenience. And convenience is one of the most reliable things people pay for. Machine number 6, the coin-operated laundry machine. This one works on the same principle. Recurring need, immediate payment, minimal involvement. In dense urban areas, small apartments, student housing, migrant worker dormitories, many people don't have their own washing machines. They need to wash clothes regularly, every week, sometimes more. You set up a small space with a few coin-operated or card-operated washing machines and dryers. Customers bring their laundry, load it, pay, and wait, or come back later. You handle maintenance, cleaning, and occasional repairs. The machines handle the rest. The beauty of this model is that it's almost immune to economic swings. People might cut back on restaurants, on entertainment, on new clothes, but they still wash their clothes. And because each machine can serve multiple customers per day, the revenue adds up quickly. 1 machine is a side income. 3 machines is a business. 10 machines is a territory. These 3 machines share a common thread. They don't depend on you finding clients. Clients come to them. They don't require you to chase payments. Payments happen on the spot. They don't need complex operations. They need location, maintenance, and consistency, and that makes them powerful. But there's another layer. Machines that don't just provide services or make products, but actually transform waste, food, and everyday materials into something valuable. And that's where the next level begins. There's a category of machines that feels almost unfair, because they take things most people see as worthless and turn them into revenue. Trash, leftovers, empty space. To the average person, these are problems. To the operator, they're raw material. Machine number 7, the plastic shredder and pelletizer. This one targets a growing global reality. Plastic waste is everywhere. But waste is only waste if it stays waste. The shredder takes plastic bottles, caps, containers, and other recyclable plastics, cuts them into small flakes, and feeds them into a pelletizer that melts and reforms them into uniform plastic pellets. These pellets are the raw material for countless manufacturing processes: injection molding, extrusion, 3D printing filament, even new bottles and containers. You're not creating a new market. You're feeding an existing one. Recycling centers, plastic product manufacturers, and export companies buy these pellets constantly. In many regions, local recycling infrastructure is weak. Most plastic still ends up in landfills. That means feedstock is cheap, sometimes free, and demand for processed material is high. You collect or buy waste plastic at low cost. You process it. You sell the output at a multiple. The machine doesn't care about trends. It doesn't need branding. It just runs. And as long as people keep using plastic, you have raw material. Machine number 8, the snack food extruder. Puffed snacks, chips, pellets. Food is one of the most stable markets in existence. People eat every day, multiple times. The snack food extruder takes raw materials, corn, rice, wheat, potatoes, and processes them into puffed snacks, chips, pellets, and other ready-to-eat or ready-to-fry products. You can sell these directly to consumers, to small retailers, or to larger companies that flavor and package them under their own brand. The machine is compact. It can run on electricity or gas. One operator can manage it after basic training. The key here is distribution. In many markets, small snack producers supply local shops, street vendors, schools, and kiosks with affordable, high-volume products. You don't need to compete with big brands on shelf space. You compete on price, freshness, and local relationships. And because snacks are consumable, customers reorder constantly. This isn't a one-time sale. It's a recurring cycle. Machine number 9, the ice block or ice cube making machine. This one is location dependent, but where it works extremely well. In hot climates, coastal areas, fishing communities, markets, event venues, and food service hubs, ice is not a luxury. It's a necessity. Fishermen need it to preserve catch. Vendors need it to keep drinks cold. Restaurants need it for service. Events need it for beverages. The machine takes water, freezes it into blocks or cubes, and packages it for sale. You can sell directly to end users or through distributors who deliver to shops and venues. The operating cost is mostly electricity and water. The selling price is a multiple of that. And because ice melts, it's inherently recurring. Nobody buys ice once. They buy it again and again. In the right location, this machine becomes essential infrastructure. Machine number 10, the packaging machine, pouch, sachet, or bag sealing. This one is a multiplier. It doesn't make the product. It makes the product sellable. Small food producers, spice blenders, tea sellers, cosmetic makers, hardware suppliers, they all need packaging. They need their products sealed in pouches, sachets, or bags that look professional, stay fresh, and are ready for retail. The packaging machine takes pre-made bags or rolls of film, fills them with product or accepts pre-filled bags, and seals them with heat or pressure. You can offer this as a service to local producers who don't have their own equipment. Or you can use it to package your own products, snacks, spices, grains, powders, and sell them under your own brand. Either way, you're adding value. A loose product is cheap. A packaged product is priced, and because packaging is consumed with every batch, the demand repeats. These 4 machines share a powerful pattern. They take low-value input, waste, raw food, water, bulk product, and turn it into higher-value output. They don't depend on you being a genius. They depend on you being consistent. They don't require you to invent something new. They require you to execute something proven, and that's a much simpler game. But there's a critical question that comes next. And it's the one that determines whether you end up with a working business or just a piece of metal taking up space. There's a mistake that kills most of these ventures before they even start. People buy a machine. They think they've bought a business. They haven't. They've bought a tool, a piece of equipment, a possibility. A business only starts when that machine is producing, selling, and collecting consistently. And that doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. The first filter is this. Don't buy based on price alone. It's tempting to search for the cheapest option, to scroll through listings and pick the one with the lowest number. But cheap machines often cost more in the long run. They break faster. They produce lower quality. They need constant repairs. They come with no support, no documentation, no training. You save money up front. You lose it in downtime. Instead, look for suppliers with proven track records. Check how long they've been in business, how many machines they've shipped, what kind of after-sales support they offer. Do they provide installation guides, training videos, spare parts lists, warranty terms? A machine is only as good as the support behind it. The second filter, validate demand before you buy. Don't assume people will buy what the machine produces. Go out and check. Talk to potential customers. Show them samples. Ask what they currently pay, what they currently use, what would make them switch. If you can't find at least a few serious buyers before you purchase the machine, you're gambling, not starting a business. The third filter, calculate the real numbers, not the optimistic ones, the realistic ones. Write down cost of the machine, including shipping and customs, cost of raw materials per unit, electricity, labor, rent, maintenance per month, expected output per day, market price per unit, expected sales volume per month. Then run the math. How many units do you need to sell just to break even? How long until the machine pays for itself? What's the realistic profit margin after all costs? If the numbers don't work on paper, they won't work in reality. The fourth filter, start small, then scale. You don't need to buy 10 machines on day one. You need one machine that works. Run it, learn it, optimize it, build your customer base, understand the bottlenecks, Then, and only then, consider adding more. This is how you reduce risk. This is how you learn without betting everything. The fifth filter. Plan for maintenance and downtime. Every machine will need service. Filters will clog. Blades will dull. Parts will wear. Factor this into your costs. Keep spare parts on hand. Learn basic troubleshooting. Build a relationship with a local technician who can help when things go wrong. A machine that's stopped is a business that's paused. The sixth filter. Think about location and logistics. Where will the machine run? Is there enough power, water, space? How will raw materials get to you? How will finished products get to customers? These aren't small details. They're the difference between smooth operation and constant friction. And the final filter. Treat this as a business from day one. Not a hobby, not a side project, not a let's see what happens. Set up proper accounts. Track income and expenses. Issue invoices. Pay taxes. Keep records. The moment you start acting like a business, the market starts treating you like one. These filters don't guarantee success. Nothing does. But they dramatically increase your odds. They move you from I bought a machine to I own a working business. And that's when the next level becomes possible. There's a moment that comes sooner than most people expect. It's not when the machine is delivered, not when it's installed, not even when it produces its first batch. It's when you realize you're no longer searching. No more endless scrolling for the perfect business idea. No more watching videos about passive income while doing nothing. No more waiting for inspiration to strike. You have a machine. It runs. It produces. It sells. It collects. You're not theorizing anymore. You're operating. And that changes everything. Because now, your day isn't about wondering what to do. It's about managing what's already working. You check the output, you confirm the orders, you schedule the next batch, you handle the deliveries, you collect the payments. It's not glamorous, it's not viral, it's not the kind of thing you post about with motivational music, but it's real, and real is what pays. This is where most people never get to, not because they can't, but because they don't start. They stay in the research phase, the planning phase, the getting ready phase. They never cross the line into action. But the people who build quiet, stable wealth, they cross that line early. They accept that the first version won't be perfect, that the machine might not be the latest model, that the first customers might be small, that the margins might be tight at first. They don't wait for ideal conditions. They start with available ones. And then they improve. They optimize the process. They negotiate better raw material prices. They find faster distribution. They add a second machine, then a third. They don't make huge leaps. They make small, consistent moves. And over time, those moves compound. One machine becomes a line. One line becomes a workshop. One workshop becomes a small factory. And somewhere along the way, the owner stops being an operator and starts being a manager. They're no longer feeding the machine themselves. They're overseeing the system that feeds it. They're no longer chasing every order. They're managing relationships that bring orders automatically. They're no longer thinking about today's output. They're thinking about next year's capacity. This is the real shift, not from poor to rich, from searching to owning. Because once you have a working machine, once you have a system that turns input into output and output into income, you stop needing ideas. You stop needing motivation. You stop needing permission. You have something that works. And that gives you a different kind of confidence. Not the loud, performative kind. The quiet, grounded kind. The kind that comes from knowing you can generate cash flow on demand. This doesn't mean there's no risk. There's always risk. Machines break. Markets shift. Costs rise. But when you're in the game, you learn to handle these things. You build buffers. You diversify. You adapt. You become the kind of person who doesn't panic when something goes wrong. Because you've solved problems before. You'll solve them again. And that's a form of wealth that no one can take from you. So if you're still waiting for the right idea, the right moment, the right amount of capital, the right level of confidence, understand this. You don't need all of that to start. You need one machine, one product, one customer. Everything else comes after. The machine doesn't care about your doubts. It doesn't care about your story. It doesn't care about your past. It only cares about input. Feed it, run it, collect, repeat. And while everyone else is still talking about what they're going to do, you'll already be doing it.